Hi, welcome to Barvotti's 64th live screening of tools for creatives. I am Phoebe Bradbury, and today I will be demonstrating some of the tools that I use every day in my art studio. I wouldn't want to be without them, and I find new uses for them all the time. There will be promotional offers during the program, and the promo codes will be active during the demonstration and for almost an hour after. The current time is 12 noon, Central March. Is it 12 noon?
Yeah, Central.
Oh yeah, okay, right, we're in Mexico, so it's a different time. I'm sorry, I apologize. Central March 23rd, 2022. That's just to let people who watch this later know that maybe the promo codes aren't still available, because these are good for about an hour and a half. Right now, the promotions are only available on amzn.to. Okay, do I go over there now? Hi. The introductory video you saw was this picture here being made. It's called Orange Regrets, and it was done very early in your show, 2021. And what I used to do that one, just to show you, see, I have a few of my tools that I've cut things out of, cut holes out of so I could make parallel lines. This is my first parallel line maker, and you don't have to do these, of course. I'll be demonstrating them during the show, but if you make some, you will make ones that are entirely made for you. So just to show you, I'm going to show you this here, that exactly fits that. So at this point I only had this one, and I used it to make a background for stuff. And, when you're painting this way, it's sort of almost like backwards painting, because you put the background in first and then you keep going on and sometimes scrape through. So it's, for me, these are warm-up exercises. I think I have this upside down. Yeah, oh, it's right. There's my name there. And these are being sent to Abstract Art Canada for sale. They're not quite in the boxes. Oh, they don't. I send them directly to the client, but they are being. That's where they're being shown and sold. So abstractartcanada.com, and this is one of them because it's one of the first ones. And I'm basically sending works that I have done during the show. Orange Regrets. Okay, this is another one I've done more recently. And I may try to do something like this today. This is where I have painted a very light wash, not a wash, but a light surface, not black exactly, onto a piece of Yupo paper. Yupo is archival paper. Oops, it's supposed to go this way. See, there's my name. Any of these paintings, they're abstract, and it doesn't matter where I put my name. It's your job to find out what is the way you like to look at it. And sometimes I like to look at them differently than the way I sign. So I kind of like this way, but my name is up there anyway. So this is just scraping through to the white, and you could be scraping through to any color if you put that color on first and then let it dry. So this is sort of a sample of what you can get. What I like about this one is the fact that the background is quite dark, and the foreground, which is actually nothing because I've scraped right through to the paper, is quite light, and I like that visually. Okay, so that one's not ready to go. It will be. See what happens to the back of them shortly. And then there's this other one. This one is what you're going to see on the way out. and it's also put to music. And the ones that are put to music are sped up a bit. So this is the tool I used for this one. So no fancy parallel lines. And this is one of the very early ones that I made. And it's done on, I used to call it butcher paper, but apparently I've been well, I have been corrected. And it is freezer paper. So it's got a slick, plasticky side and then a white papery side. Because I like this one so much, I've been showing it and showing it. So it's showing a bit of wear from being tossed around my studio and being shown on the show. But what I have done is I've taken it and I've scanned it, and Photoshop has a thing where you can scan the different parts as long as you get them flat, and then it'll knit it together so that it's like a perfect, it'll put it together. I don't have to do that, which is wonderful. So I do have a digital image of it. So that's what I do with items that are not archival. This could last for 100 years, but I wouldn't depend on it because I don't know if there's acid in the paper or that kind of thing. And because I like it, I wanted to save it. So when it's digital, it's, well, somewhat permanent anyway. Here, so that's that. And I want to put, I was going to show one other thing here. What was it? Oh, iris. And just to show that I don't just do abstract, or let's say a better way of putting it is I generally just do abstract, but I am capable of painting, and I have been using the tools here. These types of tools are called shapers, and these ones here, the big thick ones, and I'll be demonstrating both of them today. These come in 5 sizes. Yeah, and each size has 4 let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different, 1, 2, no, see, oh goodness. I don't have all of them right here right now, but they have 5 different tips, and I have 5 sizes. 5 sizes of these or 4 sizes of these? 5, thank you. And so here's a picture of Iris, and it shows her on our patio looking at us. And we live in the Yucatan in Mexico, and shortly my studios right now, it's upstairs on the back end of the house facing inland, but very shortly, within the next week or so, my studio will be, maybe a week. Yeah, my studio will be out facing, it'll be on the front of the house upstairs, and it'll be facing of Mexico? The Gulf of Mexico. I always want to say the Bay of Mexico, and then I have to think of golfing, and then I think of Gulf of Mexico. So I apologize for that, but we will be facing the Gulf of Mexico on the 2nd floor of this house. And that's Iris. She's a blue healer, and this is the picture. Same picture. I took it and made it bigger, and then I had a really good look at it. And so I painted, this was just a study I did during one of these shows, and this took less than 5 or 10 minutes, and I mixed my paints as I go. I don't use pre-mixed paints, so I have a basic, what do you call it? Pardon me? Thank you. I have my assistant helping me. I have a basic palette of about 6 or 8 colors, and from that I mix all the other colors. So this is a very quick painting of Iris using these tools here. I think I was not going, I wasn't going much smaller, but the reason I chose this is because these tools make such beautiful hair-like marks with these paper. And I have since done a bigger one of Iris, which I will show you sometime. It's actually had to be done on an easel, not on a place like this. So that's just to show you that you can use these for painting. You don't have to use them for painting. If you do use them and you're an acrylic painter like I am, the beauty of using these is that they wipe off instantly. If I get paint on them, I just take a damp rag, damp cloth, and I just wipe them off, and they're ready to go again. And the only thing you should not do with them is you can let the paint dry on them. if it's acrylic paint, because it'll just peel off the next day. But if you are using oil paints or using anything with solvents, you should always rinse them with water right after use, because solvents will soften the silicone. So this is an example of using a damp rag to, I'm actually not even using it on the silicone's already clean, but to clean my brush without a bunch of water around. It's just, I've got water, a little bit of dampness in the cloth, so that's how I clean them. So today, I have been working, oops, did I show this one? I showed this one. I showed the other one going out, yeah. Okay, I have been working on doing some poured paintings, because I did a lot of very successful poured paintings about 3 years ago, and then I haven't done them for a while. So I thought I'd start demonstrating them now. The problem is that when I was doing them, I had a technique, and I don't really exactly remember the technique. So what you saw behind me, can I show them that one?
Yeah.
This one here, this is a poured painting. It's a little 8x8. Am I showing up there? Yeah, okay. I don't know where I am. I've got 3 cameras. Okay. It's a little 8x8 painting, because I do these on an 8x8 piece, and then I scan them at a very, very high resolution, because the separations between the marks are actually molecular. So this is one of my more successful ones, and I thought I'd lost it, my original. I have the scan, but I thought I'd lost it, and I was talking to my daughter in Canada on, was it Facebook or FaceTime yesterday, and I noticed it in the background, so I must have given it to her, and I'm so glad I gave it to her and not somebody else, because it's still in the family, and I can still, I know where it is, because I was kind of worried about it. But it's as you can see, there's, probably you might not be able to see on that, but there's extreme precision in the marks of the flowing paint. And that's what I haven't been able to get back to. So I'm, every day I do a little bit of practicing of pouring paint, and I've done several shows where it didn't work out. It was a mess. I had to throw it in the garbage, that sort of thing. And I'm still doing that. I did one yesterday because I wanted to show you how I was going to do it today and have it work. And I touched the painting this morning, and it was still wet. And it should dry like within 10 or 15 minutes. So, and I thought, well, maybe the problem was because I'm in Mexico, but I thought, no, well, 3 years ago I was in Mexico too, and I was 2 blocks away from the beach, and it was just the same humidity. So there's something wrong with my mixture. Today I'm not going to show you that. I'm not going to do one of those, but we're going to work through and do a lot of the other things that we can do with this, and we will get back to poured painting when I have been able to do it successfully on my own. I'll start showing it again. Okay. So I think I'll just quickly show, oh boy. I guess I must sound like I'm a little bit obsessed with this, but this was the poured painting that didn't work out. And there's where I touched it to, let's see, can I show you that? Zoom. So I touched it right about here, and the paint just came off my hand in gobs. And so it's dry around the corners, but it's not dry in the middle. And this is an example of a poured painting, an 8x8 inch one that I did a few years ago, and how brilliant and beautiful the colors are. And I'm finding that in my other painting, the one I'm trying to do, the colors are not very interesting. And they're not as brilliant, and they're not as precise. So you can see, here they are side by side. I think this is somewhat boring. Here, my choice of colors might be a bit better, but in actual fact, it's the precision that I'm looking for. So that's what I'm trying to achieve and hope to be able to show you. And this is what I have. That's about where I am now. So I'm kind of at beginning stages. And I don't mind doing that, and I'm always interested to know what's wrong with my, my process. And if you watch my show, you'll realize that I do things and try new things and then try to get better and better. And you will see examples of that as we go along. So to stop talking and get moving, I've got a piece of plastic freezer paper. Thank you, Preben. And I'm going to use some of these tools here to just start splashing around and showing you what I'm doing. So that's my new color. I mixed this color up yesterday. I liked it very much. And let's see if I can get some. So sometimes my composition is based on how I throw the paint out. So I'm way too, okay, I've got to zoom out. Yeah, thank you, Preben. And what colors will I like? I like this orange. This is that one. This is a mixture of a transparent phthalo blue and a transparent phthalo green. And there's a reason why I chose those, but I explained it, probably over-explained it the other day in my introductions, because I was going to work with blues. I'm going to put a bit of red in here. And there. Okay. I'm doing this without thinking. I haven't planned this, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. And what I hope happens is that I will not muck everything up and it just becomes one glob of some weird color. So, which it might do. Okay. See what kind of, ooh, okay. I love doing this because I get to see what, pulling through does. And I really can't help myself kind of exclaiming when I'm doing it. So, and I don't know why I'm making those kinds of marks. But on the same go, I don't know why, and I don't know why not. So let's just play here. And go like that. We could do some X's and O's around here. X's and O's. Ooh, those are so pretty. Look at that. So what I've shown here is that I can pull the paint on and then I can scrape through it, and when it's scraped, it's still got the colors of the paint, but it's a very light color. So this dark yellow here, that's what you call the mask color. That's the color of the if you're a painter, you know this already, and I apologize, but that's what the color it comes out of the tube. But the many colors that it can become when you're painting, you can find out by pushing lighter and harder and mixing it. You can also look and see, when you do this, you can see what colors you can make with mixing it with the different colors that are here. So you see the beautiful greens showing here. And that's mixing this Indian yellow, which is a color that originally came from India, but now it's made the modern way with chemicals, and which means that the cows that it used to be made from no longer have to make the color. But that's a long story, and I'm not going to tell it right now. So now I'm pushing it on a little bit heavier, so you can see I'm getting a bit more green here. Now I'm going to make a mark in there to show you what. So that's almost a black. In fact, to the eye, it would normally look a black on a painting, but you can, at this point, because it's a slick underneath, you can go and you can pull through and make designs in that area. And you can see it's still that bluey color underneath, though it's almost a blacky green on the surface. Let's just pull that green down a little bit further. See what we do here. Maybe pull through a little lighter. Oh, it's still pretty blue under there. Okay, so I'm going to go like this, and then I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to maybe turn it into sort of a black thing, because I'm going to add a little bit of red. Green and red. If you're lucky, make black. Let's add some of this red here. So it should make a very dark black. Oh yeah. So that is a very, it's still pretty blue, but I'm just going to add a little bit more. And notice that depending on the tool, I'm going deeper. I have deep cuts or light cuts, or into it. And let's just see what color this is when I spread it out. Is it a black or is it a blue? It looks like a very dark navy blue. So I probably could add more red to it. Let's do that. Just to this portion. So as a warm-up for a day of painting, this is the kind of thing that really gets me in the groove, gets me to the point where I'm not overthinking things, where I'm starting to play. And you might think discipline, painting for me is not about discipline. It's about leaving discipline behind. And it's not true for everybody. But I also spent, years, trying to do X or Y or something else, following the rules. So that's sort of like with more red. If you look here, it's a little purpley. So I haven't actually got a black yet. And I'm just playing with it to find out. But you can definitely see that this black is not green like that black. I mean, the red has changed it. So I've turned this little painting into a, I don't know whether it's really going to be a painting yet, whether it's going to be one of the ones I saved, but I've turned it into sort of like a study of color mixing. Ooh, that's fun. Let's pull some yellow through. So this tool I'm using is part of the 10. Is this a 10?
Push it up a little bit, you're right.
Okay.
Bottom on the edge.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, too far.
Is that the 10 millimeters?
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a big one. So this is a 10 millimeters across here, which is 1 centimeter. So it's one of the biggest tools that's in the shaper set. The 10 millimeters is the biggest one, but this is also the one that the tool, if you look at it, it's called a flat angle. So it's just flat across there, and it comes to a very sharp point. And it's that distance that determines that it's 7 or 10 millimeters. Where's my 7 millimeter one? Goodness. Okay. Huh. Looking at the other ones, and that's not a 7 millimeter. Okay, let's go and let's look at this up. That's, oops, let's put it over here. This is the 10 millimeter one. I'm turning it now. And this little one here is the 4 millimeter. And I do have a 7 millimeter one, but I don't know where it is right now. Okay. So they all have, all the sets have the 5 different ends. So here we are. We're still playing in this very dark, almost black spot here, and I can see that it's a navy blue. And I do think it needs a little more red. So I'm actually going to add it from this. It's a modern red, it's a transparent red, it's a quinacridone. And I could use quinacridone magenta or any other dark red, but the reason I'm using this one is because it is a transparent color. So I like using modern transparent colors because then I can play with them in the way that I like. So that's definitely not. None of the stuff I do is rules. It's about a personal choice. Okay, so now I've got a lovely purple. So if I wanted to make that purple become black, I would have to. The opposite color to purple on the color wheel is yellow. So I'd actually have to take some of this yellow and turn it there. So now I can see it's like a disgusting brown. Getting closer to black, but not black yet. So that you can see, that's getting closer and closer to black. So you could use that for black on a painting. You could use this for black, as long as you didn't spread it out. So we've just had fun, or I've had fun mixing colors here. Now I'm not mixing with any whites. The white, don't think I'm not using white. I am using white, but I'm using the white of the paper to show you what these colors are. If I actually mixed white into these colors, they would lose their vibrancy and they would become pastels. So that's a color choice. I can show you a pastel. I don't know, where's my white? In general, I don't use white. That's what, oh, I know, I have a tube of white here. So I always keep a lot of my paints in these tubes if they're just a basic color. Even if they're a mixed color, if I use it a lot. This is a syringe for a medical syringe, but it's inexpensive and it's a good way to keep paint at the ready without exposing it to air. So I'm going to put a little bit of it somewhere so I can just show you what happens. Oops. Oh, that's a nice spot. Where did I? Can you see that spot? It's way up there. I'll put it down here somewhere. Oh. Sometimes I lose track of where. So then I just put this little, it's like a little rubber donut over the end, and that keeps it absolutely wet and ready to go again. And this is airtight here. So it's a very handy, inexpensive way to keep a slightly fluid paint. My paints are not like a heavy paste paint. They have a slightly more fluidity than that, but they're all artist grade paints. So let's take a little bit of this red, because I think red is one of the things easiest things to show a pastel. I'm going to use a better rag than that. That was a Kleenex. So here's a damp rag. This is the one I was using. So I want to take something that's a pure, I don't want to mix it with a bunch of other colors. So I have a nice gob of red here. Do you see it? Yeah. Thank you, Preben, for saying yes, and I'm going to put it over here. Can you see that? Okay, now I'm going to take some white. So in this color mixing play we're doing here, we're going to see what color gets. What's the difference between that red and one where we add white to it? So you can see we're getting a pink here. And it's a pastel pink, which is, these two could be used interchangeably, but they're made completely differently. And this one is very thick, and I could actually, and it's opaque, so I can write. And when I scrape through it, it's a little bit lighter, but not much. But that's a pastel. Now, if I wanted to make a pastel blue, just trying to think where the blues are. This is a blue here. Remember? I'll put it here. So I don't think I'll get a baby blue because, oh, and I got a little bit of, this will be more like a turquoisey greeny blue. But as you can see, these colors are not the same as these intense colors without the white. And I've also taken what I've done when I mix that white with it, is I've turned them into pastel colors. So you think, oh, well, does that mean you should never mix white with blue or you get pastels? No, it's actually the type of white that you're using. And you can get something that's less pastel-y. What's it called? Zinc white. Zinc white will be it'll lighten it, but it won't make it so pastel-y. And so there are ways to do that. So let's just play with some of this and put it on. Let's put it on here. I know that beautiful little thing has just disappeared. So but it's been sitting there a while. Let's see what happens if we just pull this off now. So it's still there. It looks a little different. But for some artists, what they want is they don't want things to look fresh, or they want it to look that sort of a little used or old or whatever. Anyway, so this is, where are we now? I'm going to bring this down a little bit, sort of in the middle. And so I'm going to, I don't think this is salvageable as a piece of something that I want to, ooh, look at that. Now, when we look there, in this area here, I've pulled over. I'm just going to go this way now. I'm going to go this way, do the same thing. So I've done something here where you're looking, it's scraped through and you're looking at what was left behind. So sometimes what an artist wants is they want something like this. It looked like something old, like it looks like maybe pipes or something weird or strange. And you can do that by laying down paint like this and then just scraping through. See how interesting that is? It's a different painting. And you've still got here, you've got the surface painting, and then you've got the underpainting, which I think makes it even more interesting. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I was going to have so much fun today. Oh boy. I don't know about that. I think I'm going to just, should we do a little bit here? Should we go that way? The problem with scraping a pastel over something is that you lose a lot of the character. But you notice here, we scraped it first over the pure colors and then through the pastel, and that's quite interesting there. So let's go this way. I'm going to go over this stuff. Okay. And because I can't stop myself, I have to see what's going to happen down here. Okay. So I think that's the end of this demonstration. If I keep going, it's going to just get ugly. I'm going to let it dry like that, and that's the first time I've made one where I actually had a decent background to scrape through, so I am happy with that. Okay, let's get it. So this is the cloth I've been wiping my tools with, and look, this is my hands. Normally, if I can remember, I put on gloves, but it does wear off pretty quick. And for the cloth, this cloth will be used many, many times. It's just going to go into a pail of water right now.
You
And
have a comment.
Okay,
it says,
great.
Hello from Stoutland, Missouri.
For where?
Stoutland, Missouri.
Stoutland, Missouri.
Yeah.
Well, hello to you. Okay, I'm going to just take, I think I'll just leave it the way it is. It doesn't matter if those gobs of white and that other stuff sit there. They will dry. And I'm going to save this. Yay, I got one I'm going to save. Okay, let's do another one. And this time we're going to use this red. Ooh. And this is an ultramarine blue. The other blue we had was a phthalo blue. And that means that the difference between the two, they're both transparent. The red is a little more transparent than the ultramarine, I think. And it has no green in it. The ultramarine blue has no green in it. Like the phthalo blue seems to be fairly greeny, even when you just pull it right out of the bottle. Where is the phthalo blue? No, that's the phthalo blue. I'm going to put a little bit of it right here so I can just show you that that is a different kind of blue. And I'm going to use, I'd like to use some of these tools, but I'm not so sure. I didn't wipe them off yesterday. So here I am. Oh, there they are. Here, let's use this one. Or, so here's one that dried, the paint dried on it yesterday. And you can see I can just peel the paint off. Preben says, can't see it. Okay, there it is. So the paint, with a little wipe from my cloth, the paint from yesterday is gone. I just mostly peeled it off. So the reason I wanted to use this is because this is one of the shapes that I really like in the sets. And I like it because it's got this one angle that's a little bit longer than 1 centimeter. I find I usually paint very large. So I feel inhibited a little bit by using these, and I'm trying to demonstrate them more. Yeah, just blew some dust off there. So this, I'm just going to go through the phthalo blue here to show you what the color is. And so I'm separating the mass tone from the tone of the white, with the white behind it. And you can see that these are 2 different colors of blue. I'm pretty sure you can. So if you're going to make purple, if you're going to make a good purple, don't use phthalo blue. Use the other blue. Or you could use an enanthone blue. Aha. Here's an enanthone blue. This is more like an indigo. And it's got a very dark mass tone. And it's a little more, it's about twice the price of the other blues. But it's worth every penny, I think. Depends on what I'm making. I'm always very conscious if I'm using an enanthone blue because I think of it as something that I like a lot. I don't want to use too much of it. So this is more like an indigo blue. It's like a combination. Well, it's not a combination of those. It's its own blue. And all the good paint companies put out a form of an enanthone blue. Is it enanthone or enanthone? Oh God, I always get it mixed up. But that shows you 3 of the blues, and this is a pure red. So we're going to make some purples here. So I'm using that nice long slick side. Ba 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 ba. Let's go like this. Da 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 da. Ooh. Da da da. Okay. Am I still on? I'm still on, okay. So let's see what kind of a purple we make here. It's more like a sort of a brackish purple, not, that's with the phthalo blue, and this is of course with the purple is, most of these it's still mostly blue, so I'm going to try and get, it's more like a violet. I think. Well, let's get some more of that. So those are the colors that you get when you stretch it out, and of course you would get a slightly different color if you were using good old white. You'd get maybe more of a violet. Let's do that. Oops. And this is a titanium white, so you might get a different. Oh, that's more like a baby blue. But if we wanted to turn it to a violet, a pale purple. Well, there it is. And the enanthone. Let's see what it does. Ooh, that's an interesting darky purple there. So it kind of depends on what you want to make, what you're going to get. So I'm going to put more of that in there. Ooh, boy. So here, we've sort of played with some of these. I'm going to, some of these marks these things can make, and I'm going to just go like that. I'm pulling across, so we're getting those under marks again. Now, they're not quite as strong because we didn't leave them as long as we did with the other thing we were doing. Okay, this one's got to try to remember to do it under. Where the camera is, I mean. So I'm going to take one of our nice mottlers. This is the 2-inch mottler. We're just going to go across like this. And we're going to go across like that. And then we're going to go down. Woo. And you can actually see those 3 different blues there, more or less. So you can see, because of the marks we made, we've got those interesting sort of leftover marks from before. Am I showing up pretty good here? Good, good, good. So now we've got sort of a muddy surface of sort of like a pale purple with a little bit of white in it. We can add a little more white. Problem with using white is it's not going to make, I'm going to take it off because in order for you to see it properly, it looks much better if I have a darker surface than if I start to go to a pastel surface. So I'm just going to get it out of there. So by showing you getting it out of there, what I'm showing you here is if with these tools, you make something you don't like, you can get rid of it fast as long as it's still, pliable. And this stuff, with the type of paints I'm using right now, they're acrylic paints. They dry pretty quick, but but within minutes, as long as you get at it within minutes, and you can still work with it and pull it right off. I'm not going to take it all off because I want to demonstrate some marks. Okay, let's do this. So one of the things is nice big wide marks. That's a 3-inch mottler with a sharp blade. And what kind of mark? You look at it and say, well, you could probably make some decent square marks or rectangular marks. So there's a rectangular mark with it. Ooh, look at what's underneath. And there's a smaller, longer rectangular mark. You can make stripes, thin ones, or you can wedge them so that they're going up and down like. Can be quite interesting. So you start to develop a pattern, especially if you've got a pattern underneath. You're starting to develop a painting. And what else can you do with these? Oh, you can use the corners like that. Do, 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 do. One of my favorite things to do. And so I do that. Where's one? Here's a painting on Yupo paper where I did that mark over and over again. And I actually like this quite a bit because it took a while for me to figure out what I was doing. And now I know what it's about. It's like I'm making a puzzle and somebody can get this. And if I end it here, then somebody can start there, a child, or maybe not even a child, somebody who's interested in doing it. And they could even use a pen if they wanted to, and they could follow the mark I made and where it went and where it turned, just to see how far they could go. And I probably will get better at making that mark more followable, but it really is nothing more than just, fooling around and having, being kind of aware of how you're doing that. This is, like I say, the kind of thing I do to warm up. So that's the 3-inch one. There's another type of mark I like to make with these is something like this. I just go in like that, and then I go, and then I go. And I might go like that. So then it becomes almost a painting in itself, because I'm only making one type of mark there. I wonder if I've got one sitting here that I've already done that with. So there's that one, and but this is like a big one done like that. And it's, this one's done on paper too, so on the wax paper too, so it's not a permanent one, but I've done quite a few like that. Oh. This is a bit like that, but this is done on Yupo paper. So this is a finished painting with a. I've got gold. I've got gold in the paint, and so it's multi-dimensional because there's stuff underneath, and then you move on up, and things like that. So these are the types of marks you can make with these. So I'm going to go over it again. And talk about repeating marks can be very appealing to people. And so I'm going to show I'll probably do it with this one. This is one of my little more perfect parallel line makers. I took time, I think I actually measured it. I'm going to go like this, and like this, and like this. And I'm going to go, take this one. This is the 1 inch. Whoops, I'm going to clean it off first. Just to show you how easy it is to clean off. I think that paint had a little bit of time to dry on there, but it doesn't really matter that there's paint on there because but as you can see, I could now go and mix, white and stuff like that. It's perfectly clean. So let's go. We're going to go over and under, over and under, oops, under, and over and under. And then we're going to go. I'm wiping it between, but you don't really have to. But now I'm going to go under. It's starting to get a little bit dry. Over, under. And you can notice how I wiggled over that one. And so you can do that. You can do lots of different things. Is that right? Okay. Or you can go under. Oops. Over, that's right. I got about halfway through it and then I think. So it's sort of like a basket weave type of thing. And if you haven't mucked up the edges, or you can cut the edges off. How am I doing? Oh my goodness, I'm almost over. I wanted to show something different today that I'm going to do right now. I'm going to put some of these over here. And so I'm going to take this off. I like to do something different every day, but that gets pretty hard when I'm we're hitting day 65. So sometimes I like to do something different that we did earlier that I haven't done for a while. But I'm doing something today that I've never done before. And let's hope I don't take my finger off. So this is a little paper slicer, and I don't know if I can get it. I can probably do a better job of putting it here if I just put it right on my surface instead of on that other surface. So this is a very inexpensive little paper slicer, and there's many different kinds you can get. Prem doesn't even know what I'm going to do. Where's that one I didn't like? Oh, yeah. So occasionally I do something I really don't care for, and this is one of them, but it's not terrible. But it just has. I would never hang this on the wall, and it was demonstrating how you can put gold on the surface, which we're not doing today. But if you watch my things regularly, we do that quite a lot. So only this isn't gold. This is stainless steel. And here's one that's gold. and it's put on a nice board, so it could be nice. It could be very nice in a living room, or a set of them. They're done similarly. But occasionally you do one that you really don't care about, don't like the colors, but of course people don't read that many books anymore. I was saying, yeah, but what we're doing here is making very nice bookmarks.
Zoom out a little bit.
Okay, zoom out. Okay. Let's see if I can get this by bringing it in a bit. I'm pretty much zoomed out, Previn. Oh. Okay. There we go. So I'm taking about 1.5 inches. And maybe not quite that much. I'm just going to slice it. So because this is a quality Yupo paper, oh, and there's the back of it where you could sign your name or whatever. You could even paint the other side if you wanted to do that. Was another painting before I painted that side. But this is something you could do for these bits and pieces. Yupo paper, if you buy the kind that I have, and I'm sorry I don't have a link for it right now, but I will have one later. I buy the one that's card, like poster card, cardstock, I guess is what it's called. Then you can get some. It makes a nice paper bookmark. Okay, let's find a different one that I. Where are all my ugly ones? So that gives you one idea. I had another piece here that I thought I wouldn't mind chopping up. Because as you can probably see that when you're doing stuff like this, you do a lot of stuff just to find out if you can do it. That's what the warm-up is about. And then you end up with a fair amount of stuff that you probably should just throw away. Sometimes you like something about it and it reminds you of how to do something. And sometimes, it's just in the way. But you could make a bunch of bookmarks out of this. And you could put a little stamp on it or something like that. I'm not really a crafty person. I'm more about art. But here's one that I did that I think is, it's not really a painting. Every time I look at it, I think, I'm not going to throw that out. I'm not going to turn that into a bookmark. Unfortunately, it's not quite cardstock, but you can see, and this is paper, but I could have used a heavier duty paper and then used it. So here we go. So that's actually very attractive because it's just a small part of a big painting. So that's one of the ideas I wanted to share with people, is that don't just throw them out. Think about how you can repurpose them. And I will promise to save and demonstrate this again with more attractive old paintings. I think I have one over here, actually. Oh, here it is, green. I saw it earlier. So I've got two here. Actually, that green I like quite a bit. This is one of the earlier ones that I did when I was just demonstrating how to use Yupo paper, and I didn't really know myself. So we saw this today where we put lines underneath and then went over top and put green on top. But this sort of thing would make very nice bookmarks. Okay. Ooh. The reason I don't like this is it's too green, but what I'm going to do probably with it is go over it with another color or colors. I'm still thinking about what I'll do with it. Anyway. Okay. I want to show something else here. This is just for a minute. So we've been sharing a little bit with people, but we don't actually have photographs and stuff today, but we are going to be moving into a new studio, and that'll be the one that I talked about earlier that faces the ocean and that sort of thing. And I'm having an easel made especially for me. I saw it yesterday. It is completed, and he's just going to make this little tabaret thing for me. It's going to be big enough to hold a painting that's 2 meters by 2 meters, or 2 meters by 2.5 meters, or whatever. Or you think of it as yards, 2 yards up and 2 yards wide. So really large paintings. When I paint those, usually I have to hang them on the wall. So that's it there. Let's see if I can go in and show. That's part of it. Yeah. Let's see. And it will have weights. It'll be cantilevered, and it'll have weights to bring the painting up and down as I need it. And so this is just to let you know that within the next probably 2 weeks we will be moving and having other types. I'll be painting more from, I will probably be painting more from a canvas or an easel. I'll still be doing this, of course, but we will be changing. So we're looking forward to having you join us in that. You're going to go out with a few things too. Oh, here. Okay, let's go here. Boy, I want to thank you for joining us today. And you can find us here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Central. We may change those times to afternoon, one morning, and one weekend. But we're waiting to hear from the people who watch our show to see what their preference will be. So if you have a preference, please let us know. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday.